The ultimatum, the morning sky over New Angeles turned from blue to shadow in less than 30 seconds. Commander Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of the Earth Defense Command Center, watching as massive ships blotted out the sun. Each vessel was the size of a mountain, their hulls gleaming with an alien metal that seemed to absorb and reflect light in impossible ways. "Status report," Sarah called out, her voice steady despite the ice forming in her stomach. "Lieutenant." Rodriguez turned from his console, his face pale. "Commander, we're tracking over 800 ships in formation above major population centers worldwide. They appeared simultaneously across all time zones." Sarah gripped the railing harder. 800 ships. Earth's entire defense fleet consisted of 47 vessels, and most of those were designed for asteroid mining, not warfare. The largest human warship could fit inside the cargo bay of the smallest alien craft hovering above them. The communication array crackled to life and a voice filled the command center. It spoke in perfect English, though the tone carried an otherworldly quality that made everyone's skin crawl. "Inhabitants of the third planet, you will listen and obey. I am Admiral Vorthak of the Zorvak Empire. Your species has been evaluated and found suitable for integration into our Imperial workforce. You have 48 hours to surrender all military assets and submit to Imperial rule. Resistance will result in the complete sterilization of your world." The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Sarah looked around at her officers, seeing her own fear reflected in their faces. 48 hours to save 7 billion lives. "Get me the president," Sarah ordered, "and contact Dr. Rivera. Tell him it's time for Project Graviton." Dr. Marcus Rivera received the call while he was 3 miles underground in a facility that officially didn't exist. The Montana mountain above him housed one of Earth's most closely guarded secrets, a project that had consumed 5 years of his life and the combined resources of 12 nations. "Sarah, I was wondering when you'd call," Marcus said, his voice echoing in the vast underground chamber. Around him, hundreds of technicians worked frantically at control stations, surrounding a massive spherical device that hummed with barely contained energy. "Is it ready?" Sarah asked directly. Marcus looked at the readings on his screens. The gravitational field generator was functioning perfectly, but they had never tested it at full power. The theoretical calculations suggested it would work, but theory and reality were often different things when dealing with forces that could rip apart planets. "As ready as it's going to be," Marcus replied. "But Sarah, you need to understand what we're dealing with. The Zorvak Empire has conquered over 300 worlds. Their plasma weapons can vaporize cities, and their shield technology is beyond anything we can penetrate with conventional weapons. That's why we're not using conventional weapons," Sarah said grimly. Captain Elena Vasquez ran through her pre-flight checklist for the 3rd time, her hands moving with practiced efficiency over the controls of the prototype spacecraft Defiance. The ship looked nothing like traditional Earth vessels, its hull covered in geometric patterns that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. "Graviton drive online," reported her co-pilot, Sergeant Jake Morrison. "All systems are green across the board." Elena nodded, though her stomach was tight with nerves. The Defiance was humanity's first gravity manipulation spacecraft, designed using principles that Dr. Rivera's team had discovered while studying quantum mechanics at the subatomic level. The ship didn't use rockets or ion drives. Instead, it manipulated the fabric of space-time itself to achieve movement. The theory was sound, but this would be the first real-world test under combat conditions. "Command, this is Defiance, ready for launch," Elena reported. Sarah's voice came through the comm system. "Understood, Defiance. Remember, your job is reconnaissance only. We need to know what we're facing out there." General Harrison Blake stood in the Pentagon Situation Room, surrounded by screens showing the alien fleet from every angle. As Earth's top military strategist, he had spent his career preparing for conflicts with other nations, not extraterrestrial empires. "Options?" he asked his staff. Colonel Amanda Torres stepped forward. "Sir, our missiles can't penetrate their shields. Our fighters can't match their speed. Conventional warfare is suicide." "Unconventional warfare?" Blake asked. Torres hesitated. Project Graviton is our only chance, but it's never been tested against actual alien technology. We're essentially gambling the entire planet on untested theoretical physics. Blake studied the tactical displays. The alien ships maintained perfect formation, their positioning clearly designed to maximize psychological impact on Earth's population. They weren't just invaders. They were conquerors who had refined the art of intimidation across hundreds of worlds. What about evacuation? Someone suggested. Where would we go? Blake replied. These ships have faster-than-light travel. They could follow us to Mars or any other colony. This is our stand. High above Earth's atmosphere, Admiral Vorthak stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Devastator. The bridge was a marvel of Zorvak engineering, with holographic displays showing every detail of the planet below. Vorthak himself was an impressive figure standing nearly 8 feet tall with 4 arms and skin that looked like polished obsidian. Report on the human military capabilities, Vorthak ordered. His tactical officer, a younger Zorvak named Krenthak, consulted his displays. Their most advanced weapons are crude fusion devices. Their ships use chemical propulsion. Their combined military force could not damage a single one of our vessels. Vorthak nodded with satisfaction. The evaluation had been correct. Humans were a primitive species, barely beyond the level of using fire for tools. They would make excellent workers in the Imperial mines and factories. However, Krenthak continued, there is one anomaly. We are detecting unusual energy readings from several locations on the planet. The patterns don't match any known technology. Explain, Vorthak demanded. The energy signatures appear to be gravitational in nature, but that's impossible. Gravitational manipulation requires technology levels at least 1,000 years beyond what this species should possess. Vorthak's 4 eyes narrowed. In his centuries of conquest, he had learned that impossible things often became very possible when species faced extinction. Maintain monitoring. Alert me immediately if those energy readings change. Back in the Montana facility, Dr. Rivera watched as his life's work prepared to face its ultimate test. The gravitational field generator was more than just a weapon. It was a completely new understanding of how the universe worked at its most fundamental level. Doctor, called out his assistant, Dr. Jennifer Park. We're receiving data from the deep space monitoring stations. The alien ships are positioning themselves in standard occupation formation. Marcus nodded. Standard occupation formation meant the aliens were confident in their superiority. They weren't expecting resistance, which might give Earth the element of surprise it desperately needed. What's the status on the Pacific Array? Marcus asked. Online and ready, Jennifer replied. All 7 underwater installations are reporting full operational capacity. The Pacific Array was the most ambitious part of Project Graviton. 7 massive gravitational manipulators had been secretly installed on the ocean floor, positioned along major tectonic fault lines. The theory was that by precisely manipulating gravitational fields, they could trigger controlled seismic events. The aliens might have superior technology, but they probably didn't expect a planet to fight back using its own geological forces. Commander, Chen received updates from around the globe as Earth's hidden defenses came online. Project Graviton wasn't just one facility in Montana. It was a worldwide network of gravitational manipulation devices, each one disguised as something mundane, like a research station or industrial facility. Ma'am, Lieutenant Rodriguez called out. We're getting reports of unknown contacts approaching from the outer solar system. Sarah turned to the main display. New signals were appearing on the edge of sensor range, moving at incredible speeds toward Earth. The contacts were too far away to identify, but they were definitely artificial. How many contacts? Sarah asked. Difficult to say, ma'am. They're using some kind of stealth technology that's interfering with our sensors. Best estimate is between 50 and 100 vessels. Sarah felt a chill. If these were more alien ships, Earth was finished. The Zorvak fleet was already overwhelming. Additional enemies would make resistance pointless. But something about the new contacts felt different. Their approach vector was unusual, and their energy signatures didn't match the Zorvac vessels orbiting Earth. "Keep monitoring those contacts," Sarah ordered, "and get me a direct line to Dr. Rivera. If we're going to make our move, it has to be soon." The countdown to humanity's deadline continued. 47 hours remained before Admiral Vorthak expected Earth's surrender. Around the Yznar globe, people looked up at the alien ships and wondered if they were seeing their planet's final day. But in hidden facilities and secret laboratories, humans prepared to show the galaxy something they had never seen before. Earth wasn't just another world to be conquered. It was home to a species that had learned to survive in the most dangerous environments imaginable, and they were about to demonstrate why apex predators don't go quietly into extinction. The mysterious contacts from the outer solar system continued their approach, their identity unknown, but their timing perfect. In 24 hours, the galaxy would learn that humans had been preparing for this moment far longer than anyone imagined, and the Zorvac Empire was about to discover that some species don't surrender. They demand submission. But Earth had other plans. The Black Fleet's revelation, 24 hours into the countdown, the mystery contacts from the outer solar system finally revealed themselves. Captain Elena Vasquez was the first human to see them clearly, as her reconnaissance ship Defiance pushed through the asteroid belt using its gravity drive. "Command, you need to see this," Elena transmitted, her voice filled with amazement. The ships that emerged from the darkness were unlike anything in the known galaxy. Their hulls seemed to drink light, appearing as voids against the starfield. But as Elena's sensors penetrated their stealth technology, she realized something that made her hands shake on the controls. "Sarah, these aren't alien ships," Elena whispered into her communicator. "They're human." Commander Sarah Chen stood frozen in the Earth Defense Command Center as Elena's transmission played on the main screen. The approaching vessels were indeed human in design, but their technology was decades ahead of anything Earth had developed. "Elena, are you certain?" Sarah asked. "Positive, Command. I'm receiving identification codes on old Earth frequencies. The lead ship is transmitting as UES Retribution. Captain Zara Kim commanding." Sarah's breath caught. Zara Kim had been declared dead 15 years ago, when her deep space exploration mission vanished beyond the outer planets. The official report claimed equipment failure, but Sarah had always suspected there was more to the story. The main communication array activated, and a familiar voice filled the command center. "Earth Defense Command, this is Captain Zara Kim of the United Earth Colony's Black Fleet. We received your distress signal and have come to assist." Sarah stepped forward to the communication station. "Zara, we thought you were dead. Where have you been for 15 years? Zara's image appeared on the main screen, and Sarah barely recognized her former colleague. Zara looked older, more weathered, but her eyes held a confidence that hadn't been there before. Behind her, the bridge of her ship showed technology that seemed almost magical. "It's a long story, Sarah. The short version is that we never stopped exploring. We found something out there in the deep dark, something that changed everything we thought we knew about human potential." Dr. Marcus Rivera listened to the conversation from his underground facility, his mind racing with possibilities. The energy signatures from the approaching fleet were unlike anything in Earth's databases, but they were definitely based on gravitational manipulation principles. "Dr. Rivera," came Zara's voice through the communication system. "I know you're listening. Your Project Graviton is impressive, but we've had 20 years to perfect the technology you're just discovering." Marcus stepped up to his own communication station. "Captain Kim, how is that possible? The theoretical framework for gravitational manipulation was only completed 5 years ago." "On Earth, yes. But out there, beyond Neptune, we found the ruins of a civilization that mastered these principles millions of years ago. We've been learning from them, adapting their knowledge, building a fleet that could protect humanity when the time came." Admiral Vorthak received the reports of the approaching human fleet with growing unease. His tactical officer Krenthak displayed the sensor readings on the main holographic screen. "Admiral, these ships are using technology that shouldn't exist. Their gravitational manipulation capabilities appear to exceed our own. Vorthak's forearms tensed. In 800 conquests, the Zorvak Empire had never encountered a species with technology superior to their own. How many ships? 143 vessels, Admiral. They're maintaining a precise formation that maximizes their gravitational field overlap. If they coordinate their fields, they could tear our ships apart, Vorthak finished grimly. Send a message to the human fleet. Demand they withdraw or face destruction. Captain Zara Kim received the Zorvak ultimatum on the bridge of the Retribution. Around her, officers from the Black Fleet worked at stations that combined human design with alien technology reverse-engineered from ancient ruins. Response, Captain? Asked her first officer, Commander David Chen, Sarah's brother who had been presumed dead in the same mission 15 years ago. Tell the Admiral that humanity doesn't negotiate with slavers, Zara replied, and prepare the Harmony Protocol. Back on Earth, General Harrison Blake coordinated the planet's defense from the Pentagon Situation Room. The arrival of the Black Fleet had changed everything, but Earth's forces were still vastly outnumbered. What's our tactical situation? Blake asked. Colonel Torres updated the holographic display. The Black Fleet has superior technology, but the Zorvak Empire has numerical advantage. 800 ships versus 143. Even with better weapons, the math doesn't favor us. Unless we use the planet itself as a weapon, came Dr. Rivera's voice through the communication system. Blake nodded. Project Graviton wasn't just about building ships that could manipulate gravity. It was about turning Earth's own geological forces into the ultimate defensive system. Engineer Thomas Wright worked frantically in the Black Fleet's mobile command center, which had been secretly established in Earth's orbit 24 hours earlier. Thomas had spent the last decade developing gravity weapons based on technology found in the ancient alien ruins. Sarah, we're ready to demonstrate what human ingenuity can accomplish when we stop thinking inside the box, Thomas transmitted to Earth. On his screens, Wright showed the combined power of Earth's gravitational manipulation network and the Black Fleet's mobile platforms. Together they could create gravitational fields strong enough to affect planetary orbits. Thomas, what exactly are you proposing? Sarah asked. We're going to show the Zorvak Empire what happens when you threaten a species that calls a death world home, Thomas replied with a grin. The demonstration began with a single ship from the Black Fleet, the UES Defiant, positioning itself between Earth and the Zorvak Fleet. Captain Elena Vasquez watched from her reconnaissance ship as the Defiant activated systems that made space itself ripple like water. All Zorvak vessels, came Zara Kim's voice on an open channel. You have 30 seconds to begin withdrawal from this system, or we will demonstrate why humanity survives on a planet with active tectonic plates, violent weather systems, and gravitational anomalies you can't even imagine. Admiral Vorthak laughed, the sound carrying an ominous harmonic through his ship's communication system. One ship against my entire fleet? Your species' arrogance will be their downfall. One ship, Zara agreed, but connected to an entire planet. That's been waiting to show you what real power looks like. The Defiant's gravitational manipulators activated in harmony with Earth's underground network. The effect was immediate and terrifying. The Zorvak flagship, despite its massive size and advanced shields, began to shake as gravitational waves washed over it. Dr. Rivera monitored the gravitational cascade from his control room. Initiating Pacific Array activation. All stations report ready. Execute, Sarah commanded. Across Earth's oceans, 7 underwater installations activated simultaneously. They didn't target the alien ships directly. Instead, they manipulated the gravitational fields around Earth's tectonic plates. The San Andreas Fault, the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, and 5 other major geological features responded to precisely controlled gravitational manipulation. The planet itself began to weaponize. Earthquakes triggered by gravitational manipulation created seismic waves that propagated through Earth's crust and into its magnetic field. The magnetic field, in turn, interacted with the gravitational waves from the Black Fleet to create a defensive grid around the entire planet. Admiral Vorthak watched in growing horror as his fleet found itself trapped in a gravitational web that grew stronger by the second. Ships that tried to break formation were pulled back into position by forces that defied his understanding of physics. "Report," Vorthak demanded. "Admiral, the humans are using their planet's natural systems as weapons. Our ships are caught in a gravitational matrix that's being controlled from the surface. If we try to fire our plasma cannons, the gravitational fields will redirect the energy back at us." Ambassador Liu Wei, Earth's top diplomatic negotiator, opened a channel to the Zorvak fleet. Her voice was calm and professional, but her words carried the weight of a species that had just demonstrated the ability to weaponize planets. "Admiral Vorthak, humanity offers you a choice. Withdraw from our system immediately and never return, or discover what happens when you threaten a species that has spent 3 billion years learning to survive on a world that tries to kill us every single day." The demonstration continued. Hurricane systems in Earth's atmosphere began to synchronize with the gravitational manipulations, creating electromagnetic storms that interfered with Zorvak navigation systems. Volcanic activity, carefully controlled through gravitational influence, released precisely calculated amounts of particulate matter into the upper atmosphere, further disrupting alien sensors. Captain Zara Kim's fleet moved into attack formation, their ship's gravity drives creating patterns in space-time that made conventional weapons useless. But the real power wasn't in the Black Fleet's ships. It was in the revelation that humans had learned to turn the deadliest planet in the known galaxy into their greatest weapon. "You see," Zara broadcast to the Zorvak fleet, "while your empire was conquering primitive worlds, humanity was learning something different. We learned to live with forces that would tear apart your homeworld. We learned to thrive in conditions that would kill your species in minutes. And now we've learned to control those forces." The gravitational matrix tightened around the Zorvak ships. Admiral Vorthak realized that his mighty fleet, which had conquered 300 worlds, was completely helpless against an enemy that fought using the fundamental forces of the universe itself. "We withdraw," Vorthak transmitted, his voice filled with something the Zorvak Empire had never experienced before: respect for a species they couldn't conquer. The gravitational fields released their hold on the alien fleet, allowing them to retreat. As the Zorvak ships disappeared into hyperspace, Earth's defenders stood down their planetary defense systems. Commander Sarah Chen met with Captain Zara Kim in person for the first time in 15 years aboard the Black Fleet flagship now orbiting Earth. "So what now?" Sarah asked. "Do you stay, or do you go back to wherever you've been hiding?" Zara smiled, looking out at Earth through the ship's massive observation windows. "We never left, Sarah. The Black Fleet has been humanity's insurance policy, exploring the galaxy, building alliances, preparing for the day when Earth would need defending. Now that day has come and gone, but our work continues." "Alliances?" Sarah asked. "Turns out humans aren't the only species that doesn't like being conquered by empires. We've found friends out there, species that share our love of freedom and our tendency to survive against impossible odds." Dr. Rivera joined the conversation via holographic projection. "What about the technology? The gravitational manipulation principles?" "Will be shared with Earth, of course," Zara replied. "It's time for humanity to take its place among the galactic community, not as conquerors, but as the species that proved even the mightiest empire can be defeated by ingenuity, determination, and the refusal to surrender." As news of Earth's victory spread through the galaxy, other species began to reconsider their assumptions about humans. The Zorvak Empire's retreat marked the first time in 8 centuries that they had been forced to withdraw from a conquest. But more importantly, it marked the moment when humanity proved that survival isn't just about having the biggest weapons or the strongest shields. Sometimes survival is about understanding that home isn't just a place you live. It's a weapon you wield when everything you love is threatened. The Black Fleet remained in Earth's solar system for 3 months, sharing technology and preparing humanity for its new role in galactic affairs. When they finally departed to continue their explorations, they left behind a planet that would never again be seen as primitive or defenseless. Earth had become the world that taught the galaxy that the most dangerous species aren't always the ones with the biggest guns. Sometimes they're the ones who learned to call hell home and made it work for them.